So we created this financial series to really just help answer some of the questions that people in the community have. And this is actually a question from me and my wife because right now Ruth and I were expecting a little one. And as we were working on creating the budget planner, we kind of like suddenly realized that, oh my God, it's no longer just going to be the two of us. Now it's going to be the three of us. So what I wanted to do was bring in our expert from Epic Financial Services, Ed Gartner. We worked with the team at Epic to create this, budget planner that we just launched. And one of the questions Ruth and I had, which I think also applies to, a lot of people out there, or it might apply to you at some point in time pretty soon, is how do you start saving for college for your son or your daughter? Because when you really think about it, it can be a huge cost if you have to pay for college for your kids once they're ready to go to college. And if you look into debt, student loans are a huge amount of debt. And I think any parent, you're thinking about how can I take this burden away from my kids? So what are your tips, Eddie, around that, saving for your kids' college fund?
Yeah, I absolutely love this question. I have two little kids of my own. College is, quickly approaching. I think I only have 8 years now left until my daughter goes in, and 9 for my son, which means I, as a financial planner, didn't space them out far enough, right? I didn't do my own, take that into account. But really, Kuda, I think I run into two different types of parents. Some parents will say, hey, I've paid for my own college, so I want to make sure my children pay for college, but I also want to make sure that I can kind of help them out if they do a real good job, right? So that they have skin in the game. And so we have a method of savings for that, and we can talk about that. Other parents say, hey, I want to pay for everything. And we try to help parents first understand, well, what's the cost of college and what might that look like, 18 years from now or 10 years from now or wherever that is. Fundamentally, there's a couple different tools that we can use. So I think about it this way. You can use a savings account, right? Just a regular in-trust for savings account for your child. They get money for holidays. They get money for birthdays, all that sort of stuff, and parents just kind of stuff it in there. The challenge with that is that when the child turns 18, now you really have to turn that over. And depending on the state that you're living in, that might actually be different. Maybe you have to turn it over a little later or sooner or whatever that might be. But when they turn age of majority in your state, they get control of that. So if you're a young child and now all of a sudden you have tens of thousands of dollars at your disposal, are you really going to use them for the things that that they were intended for? The second way to save for college would be, probably everybody's heard of a 529 plan, right? And so using a 529 plan, it's a way for you to put money away, for that money to grow, right? It's invested in the market, and there's some deferment on tax. The challenge with the 529 plan is that it's only used for education costs, right?
So if my child gets a full ride, what happens?
So what generally happens is if they never need the money, you take that money back out, right? That's your money now. However, you are going to pay penalties and tax on the growth because you used it for something other than higher education. So 529 plan is very restrictive, right? Not a lot of leeway in what you're using it for. So savings account, 529 plans. Another thing we use often with parents is life insurance, right? And I know, Kuda, you're familiar with it, but everybody out there may not be. You're thinking, well, I've heard of life insurance. There's these Gerber grow-up plans. There's all these other things out there. There's good ways to set it up with real quality companies so that this becomes a real nice savings. The benefit to you as the parent is you own it. And as the owner of that account, you get to determine when it gets turned over to your child.
Got it.
So it's a life insurance that's on your child, but the real reason you're doing it is for the cash value that you're going to accumulate in it. So it's a savings that you can just start funding on a monthly basis. Nice, easy way to put things in place, and you really get to have that determination and that control. So as a parent, you might want to say, look, I'm going to help you with your student loans, right? You're going to take out these loans as long as you maintain this GPA or you get these grades. At the end of that, I'm going to help you pay these loans because I have money set aside for it, right?
That's interesting.
But if your child gets a scholarship or they don't need it, they don't end up going to college, they get rich doing an online business, right? Right out of high school. Well, now you can take those funds, keep those funds, and, you know, maybe you give it to them for their down payment on a house, or maybe you're turning it over to them and showing them, hey, look, if you keep funding this thing, you're going to have awesome tax-free income in retirement. So lots of different multi-purpose uses out of the life insurance. So those are a couple different ways that we look at funding children's education.
Yeah, and I also think, you know, this is one of the questions where it's not a one-size-fits-all. So just click the link here if you want to have a free call with the team over at Epic, and they can listen to your situation, understand what your financial picture looks like, and maybe they can give you, you know, free guidance as to ways, you know, you can think about it, because there are multiple options on the table. Each has its pros and cons. From what I was hearing, I think the life insurance route probably gives you the most freedom and flexibility, but depending on your situation, that's something that you would have to determine.
Yes.
But it gives you freedom in the sense that you get to use the funds, you know, however you decide. There's a little bit more control, less penalties. Whereas with the 529 college fund, it does have some penalties and strings attached to it, as well as other things. So
Yes.
Anyway, this is really good, useful information, and I hope you guys find this content valuable. But more importantly, you take action based on what's shared, either by going and implementing some of the strategies that have been shared, or picking up the phone and reaching out to the team at Epic, or just going to the website, the link that's in the description, to then reach out and have them help you. Because the reason why we created this is we really want people to experience financial freedom. So thank you so much for watching, and we'll catch you in the next video.